Ron Howard's movie, 13 Lives, is coming out soon. I got to see it, Albin got to see it, and then I got to interview him. But I did it via Zoom, and I happened to be in my parents' house up in Connecticut at the time. And I was sitting there thinking that I grew up in that house watching Ron Howard on TV every week in the ABC sitcom Happy Days, obviously, with Fonzie and so on and so forth, right? So I'm about to interview him, and it occurs to me that around the same time in the 1970s, while I'm watching Happy Days on ABC, there was another wildly popular show on another network, and I thought I would kind of play with Ron Howard's head a little bit by telling him that I thought he starred in the other show. You know, just to see his reaction, so we're gonna play that interview right now. Here it is. I'm Eric Metaxas, host of the Eric Metaxas Show. I have to say, to you, Ron Howard, I'm in my parents' home where I grew up watching you play John Boy on the Waltons every week, and I want to thank you for your work in that film.
You know, I wasn't John Boy. I was on other shows, and I was a guest star.
I was just testing you. I just wanted to play with your head.
I was actually paying attention. I was actually listening to your question.
Let you know. No, but it's true, actually. You know, watched you growing up, not just on Andy Griffith in this house, but also on Happy Days. What I want to ask you about this film, it made me think of the film that you were in, The Shootist. The idea that we have made films once upon a time with characters like John Wayne, and obviously Jimmy Stewart, whom you were privileged to work with at such a young age. But I think of that film that you were in, it's almost surreal to me that you were with them in a film. Yeah. But I think of that film, and I think of the film 13 Lives that you have just made, and how almost astonishingly different they are. Why did you choose to make a film like this? Because it really is almost unlike anything that I can think of.
Well, thank you. And look, I've been blessed to have decades and decades in the business and go back to a period that was still quite traditional, where a Hollywood movie was, you know, a very unique thing. And audiences have shifted and changed, and it's been very exciting for me, and in a way energizing, to recognize that change. Part of that is a kind of a globalization and an expectation of what a story can mean, what cinema can mean. And honesty and authenticity, particularly, you know, in a movie like this that's based on real events, has become a standard and an expectation. I wanted to make sure that we pushed that to its most contemporary limits. Use modern technology and cinema to try to give audiences as much as possible a sense of what it was like to be there, which also means, you know, don't over dramatize, don't ham it up. Now, in recent years, I've also been working on documentaries, and I have recognized through a lot of the documentary scenes that I've edited together and included in the films, the way people act under duress is often not as hyped up and dramatic as we tend to stage it in movies. And I tried to reflect that in this movie as well.
Well, I'm probably the only person who will ever do this, but the comparison for me, I was trying to think, what did this film remind me of? What did the experience of watching this film remind me of? And I think I'll surprise you by telling you that it reminded me of watching Mel Gibson's The Passion, because it was harrowing. It was a harrowing experience. It was not kind of an Apollonian, like I'm watching something from a distance. It was like Dionysian, I am there. No. I don't really want to be there, but there's value in being there, especially if there's a happy ending.
That's a fascinating comparison, and I can actually understand it as you say it, and that's a movie that impressed me and I saw a couple of times.
Well, I just want to say how grateful I am for the film. And in closing, let me simply say, good night, John Boy.
Okay, well played. Good. Yeah, there's definitely a nice structure to all that. Well done.
Beautiful. God bless you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Wasn't he?
Just great.
What? Wasn't he just?
He was just a wonderful, wonderful sport to play along with me, my stupid joke. So thank you, Ron Howard, for that movie Magic. It was an amazing thing to get to interview him. And make sure you check out the film 13 Lives. Albin and I saw it, and we recommend bringing a snorkel. Next.